Hey everyone, welcome to my podcast, or welcome back if you've been here before. Pretty happy to have you here. Each week you can join me here as I review the topic of the week from my weekly collaboration at Delish. And each week we have a different topic that touches on many aspects of our lives, and I feel it'll touch anybody, no matter what their venture is in life, if they're self-employed, entrepreneur, working in a corporation, etc. I think there's just a little bit for everyone. So I'd like to dive right in. Let's get to this week's topic of the week. So this week's topic of the week is signs you're stuck in your comfort zone and need to take some risks. So it's actually an article that I found online by Jeff Davis, written earlier this year, and there's 15 signs that you might be stuck in your comfort zone. And it was a lot of fun to talk about it this week with everybody at our Delish collaboration. It's just so great to have so many different perspectives and people at different stages in their careers that have been affected by one or multiples of these at some point in their life. It says here that it's called a comfort zone because it feels really relaxing to stay in it, but it's not always fuzzy, warm feeling to be there. You must just start to feel trapped because you're following the same routines, you're not living your highest potential. I feel like you're kind of looking out, wishing for more. And I feel like each of us have been kind of in this, and actually, I feel like everyone is in and out of the comfort zone at some point or throughout our lives. And each one of these things, we can probably look back and go, oh, yeah, I remember feeling like that, or that's happening to me right now. It could be any of those things. So the first one is you never feel ready. So you have a venture you want to start, but you can't because you're like, oh, I don't have enough money, or it's not quite the right time, or, if I just had this one thing done, maybe then I would be ready. And you just don't think it's worth jumping in. And you're just never going to get to that 100% ready. And what's super interesting about that and how we have a lot of conversation around it is that 100% ready just isn't a real thing. We will never be 100% ready. We will never be perfect. And I listened to a podcast recently, and they were talking about how you just need to get to 51%. 51% sure that's what you want to do, or 51% ready, because anything more is just time delayed. You're just spinning your wheels because you can get that other 49% ready along the way. But if you can get just past that tipping point to 51%, jump in, get at it. What are you waiting for? You're just never going to get to the 100%. So the next point, you're afraid of making mistakes. This one's a good one. You're afraid of making mistakes. Is mistakes not really just a part of growing and getting better and learning and all of those things? So why do we fear it so much? Is it really that big deal if we mess up? And really, like, how long will not doing something because you're afraid of it make you happy? Will you always want to look on the other side and go, yeah, I really want that thing, but I'm afraid to get there, so I'm just going to look at it from here? That's good enough. Pretty soon that's going to wear down and you're going to be like wanting to take the risk, to make the mistake, and learn that the risk is worth it. So the next two kind of go hand in hand. You're stuck in a negative thought cycle, and you're surrounding yourself with negative people. So I think most people that I know and that I surround myself with know that that negativity is just not productive. And I'm very much about being productive. So when we talked about this, we could all look to people in our lives that have kind of filled that when we needed it too. So as an example, we've all had the people that we've gone to when we wanted to hear the wrong answer, as an example. And you go to those negative people because they will help reinforce why you're not doing it. And I truly believe, like, I can instantly think back to points in my life where I've absolutely done that. But knowing, even in that moment when you're doing it, that you're doing it and that you're only holding yourself back, trying to reinforce something that you don't actually want, because you don't actually want to stay stuck. You don't want to just be comfortable because you're already looking out, hoping for more. So if you feel like you're in that, identify it when it's happening. It's really powerful. All right, the next one. You're not sharing your goals with others. So I'm a firm believer that if I say things out loud, that I will now make them happen because I've said them out loud. And if you're not sharing what you want to do and those big goals and those, even those little goals or those little dreams with others, you're just keeping things small and not allowing yourself to grow. So if you feel like that you're doing those things, you might want to look at that and go, why am I doing this? Why am I not sharing my goals or my dreams with other people? Am I in my own way? Next up, you are chasing short-term gratification. And that's sacrificing that long-term prize. This could be having a stressful day, and then instead of doing your tasks, you just go for drinks with, the gals at the bar, or you hit the snooze button 4 more times because that extra 10 minutes of sleep is more important than getting up and tackling the day. So that short-term gratification can really derail if you can't keep your eye on that long-term prize. The next one had quite a bit of conversation around it. Is you hate feeling discomfort. I don't know anybody who would say, boy, I love feeling uncomfortable. Certainly not anybody I know. But where this went was having difficult conversations. That's certainly something that I don't love to do. But I can see how if I were to actually just do it, that when you get out on the other side, there can be so many wins. So say you have the conversation and you discover that you had it completely wrong. You assumed things that weren't true. How many times has that happened? Certainly has happened to me. Or you have the conversation and you work things out and you just have more harmony with whoever it was that you worked that out with. Or you have the conversation and it determines that you no longer want to have that person in your life because things don't align. I know it sounds really harsh, but sometimes that's the best path. If you don't have the right people in your life, you're just holding yourself back. From this came some recommendations on a book called Crucial Conversations. I'll look it up and I'll link it in the show notes so you guys can see what that book's about. But somebody recommended that, that's a good book to read if you're needing to have those difficult conversations. Now, here's a fun one. You're afraid of change. This kind of goes well with the last one. We don't love difficult conversations, or we don't like to be discomfort, and we just don't like to change that much. But we really need to look at why we're afraid to change, because change isn't bad. Change is often good. You change restaurants and try a different meal in the restaurant and go, man, who knew that I loved this type of food? Or you try a new genre of music and determine that it's something that you love. There's so many things that can relate in this, that change can be a good thing. It can be scary, and I think that's why we resist it so much. But we need to really sit back when we feel that we're resisting it and ask ourselves why. What are we so afraid of? Are we afraid that we might be successful? Are we afraid that we might actually love it and then we can't turn back? What is it? You avoid taking risks. You might be set in your ways, perhaps, or you feel like your current lifestyle is working for you, but it's too comfortable, nothing new or exciting can happen because you don't want to take any risks or make it happen. So think about that. If you're looking out, wanting more, you're going to have to take some risks. Try something new. Tackle something that you've never done before. That's really what it is. If you don't take the risks, you don't get a shot at having the big reward. Plain and simple. So now you're waiting to be rescued. This was a fun conversation because one of the examples was winning the lottery. If we just win the lottery, everything will be better. If we just did this, everything would be better. If I just met so-and-so, life would be so much better. But you can't wait for somebody to come rescue you and help you. You are the one who has to determine if you're going to leave your comfort zone. You're the one who has to take the risks, like we just talked about. And you can't expect your life to change by waiting for someone else. Because you could be waiting in your comfort zone forever. So this one, I definitely know a few people that have fallen into this or are currently in this. It's you're too busy. You might be putting off chasing your life or making those changes because you don't feel like you have enough time to dedicate to do it. But the danger is that you just keep putting it off. And you only get this one life, so you need to make the most of it. And if you just keep putting it off, you're going to get 3 months or 4 months or a year or 5 years down the road and go, I wish I would have. And if you looked back, you would know that you had the time. You're not too busy. You could adjust somewhere else. Remove social media scrolling. Get up 30 minutes early. There's options. If you're making this excuse for yourself, step back and take a look. Am I really too busy? You have zero confidence. You have to trust yourself and your abilities to take a chance to make a change. Plain and simple. You have to. And if you really don't think you're enough, you're never going to have the confidence to jump out of your comfort zone. So if this is where you're cycling, that you don't have the confidence, I can't do it, I'm not enough, you need to go inside and analyze that and see if you can break that cycle. Bring up the confidence. Learn to trust in yourself. And some of the people on Wednesday at our collaboration talked about gain confidence in yourself in little ways. So make a promise to yourself and keep it. And that'll create some trust in yourself, which results in confidence. Something very simple to do, but pretty powerful. So again, make a promise to yourself and keep it. And then repeat. So getting close to the end, we have 3 left. This one is you can't say no. So you can't set those boundaries. You're too busy helping other people every time they ask you to do something that their stuff becomes priority and your change and your new goals become a back seat. If you're always taking on other people's issues or their drama or that chaos, you're just wasting your resources for nothing. And at the end of the day, losing sight of your goals and dreams and keeping yourself stuck in a comfort zone. You avoid new ideas or experiences. This could be something as simple as only ever listening to the same podcast, never trying new ones, or only reading the same genre of book because it's comfortable and it's easy, and never looking outside that. Never looking at new ideas in technology or different areas like that. And just blocking new ideas and even perspectives. Like not seeing things from somebody else's point of view. If you're blocking yourself in that, it's a bit of a red flag. that you're not allowing yourself to grow. Even though you may not feel like you align with a different perspective or a different idea, you should at least give it a try, or at least be open to hear it, because you don't know that you won't agree or won't align unless you actually hear what it is. Give yourself the chance. All right, here's the last one, and it's a doozy. You're bored by your life. You don't feel passionate about anything right now. You're bored with everything. You feel like you're going through the motions every day. This is a huge sign that you're stuck in your comfort zone, because you need to bring more excitement into your life, more joy, doing things with more meaning. So these were all signs that you might be stuck in your comfort zone and you need to maybe take some risks to try and get out of it. Now people are like, well, what if I like being in my comfort zone? What if I'm comfortable in my comfort zone? If you are in your comfort zone and you aren't looking out wanting more, or you aren't yearning for something different and you're discontent, that's okay. I totally get that. And that's actually a bit of the goal. But like I said at the beginning, I think we're constantly going in and out of that comfort zone. So we'll get into it because we finally achieved that next step in whatever it is that we're going through, and we get comfortable with it. And then down the line, which could be days, weeks, or months, depending on who you are, we suddenly get that antsy feeling, and we're looking out and pulling some of these different signs that we're stuck and we're actually wanting out. So maybe you aren't comfortable in your comfort zone. You just aren't seeing the signs that's telling you that you want to get into a growth zone. Well, that concludes our episode this week with our topic of the week. Thanks so much for being here. It really does mean a lot to me. If you haven't already, please subscribe or hit that follow button, as I'd love if you come back week to week. If you want to find more about me, you can find me on Instagram at RhondaLavoie_tough, on my website at theurbanfarmhousesaskatoon.com, and on Facebook at The Urban Farmhouse Saskatoon. Reach out anytime. I'd love to hear from you. And if you get a chance, leave a comment on this post. I really hope you have a marvelous day, and I can't wait to bring you an episode again next week. Take care.